Hi guys, this is the first video ever on this channel, so welcome. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. What is the funniest thing a child has ever said to you? I let my niece out of her car seat and said, "You're free." She responded, "No, I'm 3.5. She was 3.5 years old. To tell, but the doctor said to my dad he's fat. 5-year-old cousin. I hope you acted like this was a huge revelation. He's fat? I had no idea. I just laughed and said wow. Okay, don't tell anyone else though. We're best buds, so he was off the hook telling me. My niece was about 4 when she took to trying to pick fights to avoid doing things she didn't want to do. Looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're fat." I said, "Yep, and you still have to eat your vegetables before you can have dessert." During a lesson as a swim teacher. Kid, "So do you live here?" Me, "What do you mean?" Kid, "Once the lesson is over, do you live in this pool?" It was honestly so wild to me as a child that my teachers had their own lives. Bumping into them at the grocery store as a kid was like observing an animal in the wild you've only ever seen before in a zoo. -18 working at a Boy Scout camp during the summer. Store manager. Kid comes up, he's maybe 10 or 11, and he points at his face. "We have the same." Me, "The same?" Him, "We have the same." Me, "Same what?" Him, "Your teeth are messed up just like mine." Out of nowhere I got roasted by a child. Mayo. Edit. Thanks for the award. We were on a tour of China a few years ago, and the group was taking the bullet train from Beijing to Shanghai. The tickets for our group had us all sitting on one side of the carriage, and the other side was all Chinese locals. It was the middle of summer and everyone was wearing shorts. Halfway through the 5-hour trip, a young Chinese girl, about 3 years old, starts walking up and down the aisle tapping everyone's bare legs as she walks past. She's got the attention of the whole carriage by now. The Chinese people on one side all have smooth legs. But when she gets to one of the guys in our group, a Mediterranean type with thick black hair on his legs, she stops in her tracks, pokes it a couple of times, then says something in Chinese and half the carriage roars with laughter. One of the locals announced she said panda and the other half of the carriage lost it too. This is my favorite. Yeah, I laughed out loud at that one. Apparently my daughter had this on her mind a lot leading up to her birthday. When she woke up on her 7th birthday, she told me, "I think the age of reason starts at 8 years old. Lol. I love this. I'm still waiting for it too." What I find even funnier is that on the morning of her 8th birthday, she woke up and immediately said, "I'm ready to behave now." We had not talked about the age of reason during the year. What does age of reason mean? It means kids can apply logic, behave, and do what they are told to do. That they won't have tantrums or be childish. Oh okay, thanks. That makes it even funnier. There is a big emphasis on children behaving in France. Adults are constantly scolding and reprimanding children, especially when they are very young. Older people, like strangers off the street, will also reprimand you, the parent, if you are not properly disciplining your child. My friend's little cousin was giving us all Pokemon names. When he got to my biggest friend he said, "And you can be Pokemon Stadium." I love how he skipped Snorlax or Wailord and just went straight for Pokemon Stadium. That's is the sickest burn. I'm going to use it. Uncle Dracumph, I peed out of my butt. Like he was so excited about it. He had diarrhea. R.I.P. kid ass. Well, that makes a terrible sentence. FBI, open up! Apparently it's already been opened. No. That's an inconvenient username in this thread. Prison sentence. The crazy nickname some drugs have these days. My cousin, who was like 3 at the time, asked me how old I am, and I said 22. He goes, "Oh, I thought you were 50. It happened exactly the same to me this year, except that the girl was 12 instead of 3. The quarantine doesn't go with me maybe. My son was 4 or 5. It was my birthday, 38, and I told him I was turning 20. He believed me and got so mad at his kindergarten teachers when he told them, and they didn't believe him. I'll never forget the look of betrayal on his little face when I had to confess to lying to him. Did you know that if you subscribe right now you're more likely to win the lottery? My 4-year-old brother was messing around with a knife and I grabbed it away from him and told him to be careful. He asked me why. So I said he could really hurt himself and die. I then said, you know, insert brother's name, if you ever die my heart would be broken. His reply, you know op, if you ever die my heart would be fixed. Man, I was so offended, but it caught me so off guard I couldn't help but laugh. Keep an eye on that boy. He might become the next Anatoly Onoprienko. Who's that? Anatoly Onoprienko. Anatoly Yurievich Onoprienko was a Soviet Ukrainian serial mass murderer. He was also known by the nicknames the Beast of Ukraine, the Terminator, and Citizen O after police arrested the 36-year-old former forestry student on April 16, 1996. Onoprienko confessed to killing 52 people. Saw a cute little boy, probably 3 or 4, smiling at me while in line at a grocery store checkout. I smiled back. He said hi, so I said hi back. His mom was smiling, and I said, what a handsome little man. He said, if you come to my house I have chocolate money. Best offer I've ever had. I tried that line at a bar once. I'm not allowed into that bar anymore. Sir, that was a daycare. What do you mean? They all had bottles. I asked my 11-year-old son why his room was always so messy and can he keep it clean. He sighs, puts his hands on my shoulders and says, Mum, I'm not that type of person, and closes the door. I burst out laughing in the hallway. I was not expecting that response. I said this to my mom when I was about the same age. Why do you always have to have your stuff all over everywhere? Can't you just put it away? Me, I could, but that's not the way my brain works. Can you make it work that way? Me, yes, but I would be unhappy. I wasn't lying. Every time I've ever attempted living an organized life, I can't find anything. Ever. Even if it has an assigned place. But when it's cluttered about, somehow I magically know where everything is located. It's just the way my brain works. Shortest story. Asked a 4-year-old how he wanted his eggs. He replied, good. Touche. This reminds me of something my sister used to say around the same age. She called her favorite kind of eggs stay together eggs. She came up with it on her own, and because we knew what it meant, we didn't feel the need to correct her, because it was cute. However, my mom didn't think to explain it to my aunt when my sister stayed the night at her house, and the next morning she got a frantic phone call. My aunt had apparently gone through about half a dozen eggs making different kinds because she could not figure out what the fuck stay together eggs were, and that is what my sister was demanding for breakfast. After my mom finished laughing her ass off, she explained that my sister wanted hard-boiled eggs. I was taking my daughter to nursery in the middle of winter. She had those mittens that connected to her coat with string but wasn't wearing them and was complaining that her hands were cold. Me, if your hands are cold, why don't you put your mittens on then, sweetheart? I can't, daddy, my mittens are full of oats. She then upends her gloves and porridge oats pour out of her mittens, making 2 little mounds on the floor. I need to know if you asked her why, and if so what she said. Oh, I asked. Repeatedly. Through the actual bent double laughing my tits off. Can't breathe levels of laughing. She was 3 at the time and could not recall why her mittens were full of oats. Kids do weird things because they seem like a good idea at the time. Why did you put a pea in your ear? It wouldn't stay in my nose. That's not true. They stay in your nose just fine. At least one specific emergency room doctor in 1983 Oklahoma will definitely confirm this. I baked muffins for my 5-year-old, and he said, well, they taste okay, but I'm thinking the people at the stores do a better job. I just love how brutally honest children are, and not in a passive-aggressive way, like adults tend to do, just straight up honesty. He gave me a hug afterwards, and asked if we could play outside. I love kids. They're great most of the time XD. Yeah, kids are brutally honest, like they won't even think twice if they like something. It's a yes or a no, straight to the point. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you have any funny stories don't hesitate to leave them in the comments down below. God bless you all.